America has hit 100 days of the Trump regime. And my friends, my God, the economy is sinking. He's upended healthcare and research on anything that matters. We have American citizens being detained and deported, not to mention that we've alienated our allies. The question now is, where do we go from here? Folks, they say that an image is worth 1,000 words. And I will tell you that the national media news outlets to mark this anniversary, oh, they got it. From business outlets to foreign policy spaces, there wasn't a celebratory cover to be seen. Take a look at this image by The Economist. Only 1,361 days to go. Friends, like the fact that we are counting that many days to go, also the fact that The Economist thinks that that's all the days that we have to go. I don't know whether to feel hopeful or that they are living in a fantasy world, that Donald Trump, who rolled out 2028 merch, is actually going to leave office in 1,361 days. But The Economist was not the only one to have their thoughts and use imagery to express the mood of the country. Take a look at The New Yorker. Nothing, my dear friends, spells the end of liberty and justice for all than Lady Liberty behind bars. You know, I live right by where the Statue of Liberty is. I get to see her when I go out on my walks. And my heart sinks most days when I see her, and have for the last 100 days, because I'm like, if that statue could talk, what would it say? And what you would probably hear is the clinking, right, of the image of the jail cell just waiting to get out. But again, the New Yorker, The Economist, not the only ones. Take a look at what Foreign Policy magazine did. This is just Donald Trump, mouth open, screaming out at a mashup of the fuckery that he has done. I mean, to me, that image seals it, because nothing says enough like the images of ICE and police, and you have Zelensky. It's just chaos and Donald Trump's long red tie and open mouth. But you know that you're in trouble on your 100-day benchmark when Rupert Murdoch's own outlet, one of the many that he has, the New York Post, take a look at what they did. Tornado Dawn. And I know that it can probably be said better, but when I saw it, I said this most recently at an event I was hosting. I said, how do I feel about the Trump regime's first 100 days? If you take Sharknado and combine it with a tsunami and then throw in like 100 knives, that's how we feel about Donald Trump's first 100 days. But I will say that, for the first time in a long time, national media actually nailed it. The first 100 days of this presidency, usually that is when the public bestows all goodwill, because you should still be riding high on your election win. But no, Donald Trump's poll numbers are circling the drain, and as many have reported, are at an 80-year low, only to be beaten by what? Donald Trump bested his worst in his first term. So we say to ourselves, dear friends, I don't know what the end of the year will bring if we actually make it there. But before we dive in further, friends, take an opportunity to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. I am doing my best to reach 25,000 subscribers. We're trying to grow Damnation as big as we possibly can. So feed the algorithm fairies and like, comment, subscribe. Okay. What else has Donald Trump been up to in his 100-day whirlwind? Here's something that is important that I don't think that a lot of folks have been covering. Martial law on the horizon. For years now, I and many others have warned that if Donald Trump were to get back into office, what would he do? He wouldn't leave. And how would he hold on to that power and turn America into an autocracy? Well, he would institute martial law by manufacturing a crisis. Well, he's taken his first steps. Take a look. So here we are, friends. And why does it matter that Donald Trump has issued the idea, the concept, ushered it in for martial law? Here is why it matters. I want to break it down for you. President Donald Trump has ordered federal agencies to increase the flow of military and national security equipment to local enforcement, a move that has raised concerns about the militarization of policing across the United States. Why it matters? Research into militarized police force has found the practice can erode public trust, escalate encounters between police and citizens, and blur the distinction between military operations and domestic law enforcement. This executive order specifically has increased fears around an encroachment toward martial law. The president has already called for his government to review the Insurrection Act, which would give him more domestic power to the military, and now wants to provide regular law enforcement with militaristic material. Folks, we watched this play out in South Korea with President Yoon. We also watched the people of South Korea, as well as their parliament, stand up against the martial law that he instituted. And right now, he has been charged with breaking the law in trying to do so. So the question is, will Americans follow suit? Well, Rachel Maddow, she may be a little bit more optimistic than I am right now, seems to think so. So for the last 100 days on MSNBC, Rachel Maddow took back her helm 5 days a week, and she was reporting on all of the things that were going on in the Trump administration. Her thoughts on where things were going to shape up next, though, should be a call to action to everyone, everywhere. Take a listen to this.
So listen, here's where I think we are right now. I think that Trump and the Trump administration are going to throw some increasingly wild pitches to try to change the political trajectory of how things are going. I mean, they're now deporting U.S. citizens. You can't deport a U.S. citizen. U.S. citizens are from here. There's nowhere to deport them to. They're now arresting judges, right? It's insane. I think that we should expect some wild pitches, some truly reckless actions to try to change the trajectory of how things are going, to try to make it seem like this is a new game. I think because of that instinct in Trump, we should expect that there are going to be some things ahead that are markedly more horrible than even what they have done already. I think they're going to try to put some proverbial heads on pikes, and I think that's going to be terrible. I also think, though, that the more important truth here is that the country is against them, and the country is against him, and he knows it. And the country is not only willing to get out and protest against him, they are willing to do it over and over and over and over and over and over again in every state in the country and just about every town. Culturally, it is now firmly established that capitulation and sucking up to Trump is shameful and weak and marks you as a loser. Conversely, I think it is culturally ingrained now that saying no to Trump and fighting him and standing up to him shows that you are strong and a winner and somebody who other people might be interested in. The superabundance of court rulings against Trump will continue. I think that will help. Bottom line, I think as long as the movement against him stays nonviolent, the movement against him wins. I think Republicans in elected office at every level will face unrelenting and increasing pressure to split from Trump on his almost unbelievably unpopular policies. Everything from tariffs to cutting Medicaid, to what he's doing to Social Security, to his treatment of Ukraine, to medical research, to Meals on Wheels, to Head Start, all of it. Republicans will be under unrelenting and increasing pressure to split from him on basically every policy with which he is associated. And yes, that includes immigration. And yes, that includes his abuse of trans people. I think relentless opposition and mockery of his failures will spread and intensify as those are further exposed and as nobody in any part of Republican politics finds any way to defend him. I think emergency defense measures will increasingly spring up all over the country whenever he tries to pick anyone off, immigrants or otherwise. I think 100 days in that Donald Trump is losing. And I think Americans defending democracy are winning.
I want to believe, Rachel. I do. Because like you, the last 100 days have been absolutely dizzying and unrelenting in the trauma that it has caused on this country, on us individually, the way that we are losing sleep and have anxiety and feel tense all the time, because that's what I hear from everyone that I talk to, from family to friends and the folks here at Damnation. The reality is that the opposition does have to be unrelenting, as Rachel said. It can't be following in the footsteps of the Democratic establishment that just wants to sit on the sidelines and just kind of see what happens and let Donald Trump, as they say, hang himself. No, it's not going to work this time. It didn't work last time, because if it did, he wouldn't have had the ability to run again and win. The American people need to continue to stand up. They need to continue to be heard. Because one thing is for sure, at every single one of these protests that we have seen over the last 100 days, it is increasing in size, and the people are waking up. And that is how we fight back. That is it for me today, dear friends, here at the Danielle Moodie Show, weekend editions. I will be back here on Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern. As always, power to the people and to all the people power. Get woke, stay sane, and in these extraordinarily dangerous times, dear friends, do stay safe.